Councilmember Khamis.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to tell all of you that I'm listening. We are listening here. We have heard you loud and clear. I know I represent constituents, and I think all of us up here, we're not here as politicians. We're public servants, and we're trying to address very difficult issues to address. You know, I've had 3 meetings on this issue. I think we shared one, and I've heard you telling us your concerns about safety. I've heard you telling us your concerns about your property values, your serenity, and I heard you loud and clear. I do, as a public servant, need to address the fact that we need to do something. And I think the memo that we struck is a balance to create this task force to look at ideas that are a little more understandable and palatable and achievable and maybe more cost effective. I think this memo forces us to examine other options, like we stated specific things about helping streamline the process of auxiliary units. These are units that I hope that even our housing department can fund. That might be a good way to fund these with the expectation of allowing those people who are building these units to house 1 or 2 vulnerable populations, maybe a homeless mother, maybe a homeless foster youth, and vet them and actually help the owners of the people who are willing to adopt this unit in their backyard, give them either financing or give them the entire money to build the houses. And then we have lots of houses that qualify for these auxiliary units. I think that's a discussion worth having in it, and it will help us build and add to our housing base. The current program, it won't work. Allowing people to put the tiny homes next to residential. I mean, we've heard that loud and clear, and I'm glad we're going forward. I hope we go forward with a task force on looking at ways that we can look at other ideas. Jackie, I heard from you loud and clear that we have 582 permanent units to be constructed. For homeless? Is it just for homeless, or is it low income? I heard the mayor bring up another number, 697. Can you parse out what's the difference?
Yes, so the 582 was the supportive housing developments that are in 3 developments that we've already approved and are moving forward. Great.
Yeah, Jackie, and I've asked this before, and I get concerned about a lot of times, and I know that you're always dealing with divergent directions from council sometimes, and we send you off and to examine different areas, and it's because we want to do more. We always want to do more to house the homeless. We always want to build more housing. Are we having problems building these housings? Because some of these, I think we passed more than 2 years ago that I recall, and I, like, for example, the Plaza, I thought passed more than a year ago now, and I thought it was going to be one of those quicker approaches. Could you let me know how the Plaza Hotel or the other hotel that we're doing it, is it on time and on budget like everybody likes to hear?
Sure. So the Plaza Hotel is actually going to be opening up next month.
Yeah.
And so we're very excited about that. That's a downtown motel that we were able to acquire. It was behind schedule. It took a little longer to get through all the planning processes and then to resolve some planning issues regarding the fire code, and so it was delayed.
Yeah. I would like us to think of hiring somebody who could just speed up the process for your department so that we can get more of these things that we already approved built. I don't think that we could think our way out of this process. I think we need to build our way out of this problem, and we need to look at ways to build more and build faster. And this is why the recommendation included the ideas of potentially the housing department becoming a loan agent for the auxiliary units. And I'm hoping that you take that seriously, because a lot of homes, I think we have thousands of potential sites that we can expand, even if somebody wants to build them for their aging mother or father. It still will help us with low-income people. And so one of the things that I'd like to see is solution-based, achievable solutions that are affordable. And I think this is one of the reasons why I supported this task force being created. We need to think and identify as much as we can places where we could build, obviously, and I think that would be a good solution. But clearly, we need to do more, and I'm very much in support of the compromise memo of Councilmember Rocha that did try to include some of the concerns from the other memo writers, and I will be supporting the current motion on the floor. And again, I also want to thank the housing staff. This is a very difficult issue. I was there at those meetings when things got heated. I appreciate your patience and your support, and I just hope that we can have you focus on building, because that's the only way that we can solve this issue. So thank you.
Councilmember Khamis.
Thank you, Mayor. And so after listening to what I think that Councilmember Rocha described, I think it was a very well stated argument. I think this is not the fastest approach. It's not the cheapest approach. It's not the most expedient approach. It's not the most agreeable approach. And I don't necessarily want to, put my money on something that may not work, may not happen. It still has to go through CEQA, community review, building. Could take more than a year. Your estimate is $1.4 million for the first trial, correct?
Yeah, that was our initial estimate, Councilmember.
And it would house 20 people?
Yes, Councilmember.
So if you divide that out and divide it by the number of months, you get $5,800. I'd rather see that money just distributed to the homeless and seeing if we can get them housed immediately. I also don't think that every district is the same. I don't have any 22-story buildings in my districts. I don't have any nightclubs in my district. I don't have any, I don't have a hospital. I don't have, there's all kinds of stuff that is not in my district, and I don't know if it's I have been agreeable to permanent housing. In fact, one of the reasons why one of the sites is on there is because I recommended to Jackie to put it on as a permanent housing structure. In fact, we voted on something in my district just a couple weeks ago on a permanent housing structure, so I have no problems providing, housing for the homeless, even in my district. I've never voted against permanent housing in my district. But not all ideas are worth pursuing, and I think this is going to take too much staff time, and I'd rather us focus our attentions on things that are going to get us to the goals faster, which is basically focus on building, focus on, and if we have this $2.7 million and we really want it to go to work fast, we should see if we can have homeless people sheltered in hotels overnight or sheltered in if we could find units. I don't care if it's one of those websites that allows you to rent for 2 weeks at a time. I think we have to pursue all options. I won't be supporting the current motion, and I don't think the council should be supporting the current motion, because, as Jackie said, this idea was discussed basically in December, and I remember those meetings in December. And they were long meetings, and there was like hundreds and hundreds of stuff to vote on, and those meetings went past midnight. Maybe that's why we still have a new curfew, so that we can make better educated, better vetted decisions before midnight. I just don't think it's going to get us there. It's not fast, it's not cheap, it's not agreeable, and I don't think we should waste any more staff time or money doing this. We should. I'm not going to be voting for the current motion. The underlying motion I'm willing to support as a task force, but I think the task force should be charged with looking at alternative solutions, not this one.
Councilmember Khamis?
Yeah, I agree with the mayor. I think I was here for that discussion. The newer council may not remember, but it was another heated, long evening like this. And I'm not supporting the current motion. I do think that we are attempting to try bridge housing, and I remember putting the Evans Lane project being put forward as a bridge housing solution. I think it was called something else, not bridge, but temporary housing or something that'll bridge them to the next level. And you know, this is another reason why I voted the way I did on the last motion. I just want us to do something right. That particular thing, that particular project was promised that it was going to be done in 6 months, and we had developers saying that we can get things done in 2 years if you just give us the shot. How long has it been since we approved Evans Lane?
I think it's been a year.
Okay. So how close are we to getting Evans Lane across the bridge?
Well, it has currently, the issue with Evans Lane right now is the mitigation for water. And there are two solutions. It has just taken so much longer because of the site constraints that it hasn't been able to finish. It's still in planning.
Jackie,
So
I really feel for you. I know, I'm honestly, I think people think that you and I have an adversarial relationship, but I think that I envy your, I don't envy your position because we're giving you so much work to do. And I would like our department focused on accomplishing tasks that we've already approved. We all are coming from the most pure heart here. All of us want to solve this problem tomorrow. But every time we give Jackie more things to do, it's going to take away from Evans Lane. It's going to take away from the 697 units she's trying to build today. Permanent units. So I don't want to, I'm not going to approve anything else for Jackie to do as far as I'm concerned until we get some work done. That's why I'm not comfortable going down even more bridge housing. I'm not, let's get some stuff done and let's give your staff some bandwidth to get things done. You're going to be dealing with rent control in a couple of days, and I'm sure that's going to be a walk in the park for you, of course. So forgive me. I don't want to offend any one of my colleagues, but I would like our housing department to focus on. And no offense to Raul, I know he's doing his best. I know he's got to deal with a lot of stuff as we all do. But I'd like us to focus because if you're not focused, you're not going to get things done. And that's where I'm coming from.